Hello everyone, welcome in English Euphoria. Today we are going to learn lesson number 1, how the camel got his hump, from Supplementary Reader of Class 8th English. So let's have a quick look on the author of this story. The author of this story is Rudyard Kipling. His full name is Joseph Rudyard Kipling. He was an English journalist, short story writer, poet, and novelist. He was born in India, which inspired much of his work. Kipling's works of fiction include The Jungle Book, Kim, and many short stories, including The Man Who Would Be King. He was born on 30th December 1865 in Mumbai, and he died on 18th January 1936 in London. So now have a look on the short summary of the story. This story, How the Camel Got His Hump, is a story from Rudyard Kipling's collection called Just So Stories. The story is set in Arabia when the world was just new and camels did not have humps. The author tells us about the time when man was just beginning to learn the art of domesticating animals. There was a camel that lived in the middle of a desert. He only ate sticks, thorns, and prickles, for they are the only things available in a desert. The camel was so lazy that whenever anybody spoke to him, all he would say was hum. The horse, the dog, and the ox, who suffered extra work because of him, held a panchayat on the edge of the desert and complained to the jinn. The jinn promised to look into the matter and teach the camel a lesson. The jinn went in search of the camel and found him looking at his own reflection in a pool of water. The jinn told him that his laziness has led to the other animals working overtime, which was not fair. Yet again the camel said, with all the indifference. Finally, when the camel saw its back, it had puffed up into a great big hump. The jinn told him that the hump was a result of spending 3 days without doing any work. With the hump on his back, the camel could now work for days without eating. And that's how the camel got his hump. So students, now let's have a look on the theme of this story. In this story, How the Camel Got His Hump, the writer has worked on the theme of laziness very effectively. He has presented the vivid description of Camel's life, who, because of his laziness, suffered a lot. The main idea here is to make you understand the importance of hard work, as laziness does not lead us to success. In fact, by avoiding work assigned to us, we will simply end up making heap of the work that will be out of our capacity to finish. So it is necessary to be active and work hard to avoid any strain in our future. Now children, before we begin with the explanation part of the story, let's have a look on the meanings of words and phrases that we will come across here. The very first word is presently. It means now, at the present time. Idleness means laziness, the feeling of being lazy. Puffed up means increasing in size or growing bigger. Hump means a round raised part of an animal's back. Saddle means a seat, usually made of leather, used on a horse's back. Trot. Trot means gait. It is a manner of fast walking of animals like horse. Yoke, a wooden bar that is tied over the neck of two animals, especially cattle, and attached to the cart or load that they are pulling. So now next is one phrase, I will hump him. It means I will deal with him appropriately in a proper manner according to the actions of the person. Edge, this is the next word. It means the outside limit of an area, the border of an area. And the last word is cud. Cud is partly digested food returned from the first stomach of ruminating animals to the mouth for further chewing. Now students, let's begin the story. So here the writer has started the story from the time when the world was new and the man had just started to domesticate the animals. And animals were learning to work for man. At that time there was a camel who lived in the center of the howling desert. Why did he do so? Why did he start living in the middle of the desert? Because he was not interested in doing any work. He was very lazy, and that's why he chose the center of the desert so that he would avoid work. He would be safe from doing any work. And there he ate sticks and thorns and prickles because these are the only eatables that are available in a desert area. So there he lived peacefully without doing any work. And whenever anybody approached to him for the sake of any help for his work, he would simply say one word. What was that one word? Hum. Just and no more. He did not say even a single extra word with except this word hum. Now students, let's watch the pictorial presentation of the story. Presently the horse came to him on Monday morning with a saddle on his back and said,
Camel, oh Camel, come out and trot like the rest of us.
Listening this, horse became very angry and he went back to man and complained against Camel.
Camel does not work, he simply says,
Okay, I will look into the matter.
Presently the dog came to him with a stick in his mouth and said,
Camel, oh Camel, come and fetch and carry like the rest of us.
Now the dog was also angry and he went to the man and complained against the camel.
Come friend, how is your work going?
That camel is not helping.
Then the ox came to him with the yoke on his neck and said,
Camel, oh Camel, come and plow like the rest of us.
Ox also turned very angry and he went back to man and complained.
Why do you look so upset? What is the matter?
That camel is very lazy. He does not do any work.
At the end of the day, the man called the horse and the dog and the ox together and said,
Three? Oh, three. I am very sorry for your. But that humping in the desert can't work, or he would have been here by now. So I am going to leave him alone, and you must work double time to make up for it.
That made the three very angry and they held a panchayat on the edge of the desert. And the camel came chewing cud and laughed.
Ha ha ha.
And the camel went again. While their discussion was going on, there came along the jinn who was in charge of all deserts, rolling in a cloud of dust. Seeing the jinn, the horse said,
Jinn of all deserts, is it right for anyone to be idle?
Certainly not.
Well, there's a thing in the middle of your desert with a long neck and long legs. He hasn't done a stroke of work since Monday morning. He won't trot.
Phew, that's my camel. What does he say about it?
Now the ox said,
He says, and he won't plow.
Very good. I will hump him if you will kindly wait a minute.
The jinn rolled himself up in the dust cloak and took a walk across the desert and found the camel looking at his own reflection in a pool of water. Now the jinn spoke to the camel.
My friend, what's this I hear of your doing no work?
The jinn sat down with his chin in his hand while the camel looked at his own reflection in the pool of water.
You have given the 3 extra work ever since Monday morning, all on account of your idleness.
And then the jinn went on thinking with his chin in his hand. Further, he said to the camel,
I shouldn't say that again. If I were you, you might say it once too often. I want you to work.
But no sooner had he said it than he saw his back that he was so proud of, puffing up into a great big hump. The jinn made a magic that puffed up his back into a hump and condemned him to work for 3 days without eating, living on his hump instead to make up for the days he had missed.
That's your very own hump that you have brought upon your very own self by not working. Today is Thursday, and you have done no work since Monday when the work began. Now you are going to work.
How can I work with this hump on my back?
So the jinn explained that though the hump was a punishment for the camel, but somehow it was going to help him in his work. With the help of that hump, he would be able to work continuously without food or water for 3 days. Then he ordered him to join his friends and work and behave nicely. Let's listen to their conversation.
That has a purpose. All because you missed those 3 days. You will be able to work now for 3 days without eating because you can live on your hump. And don't you ever say, I never did anything for you. Come out of the desert and go to the tree and behave.
Okay.
And then the camel went away to join the 3 friends. And from that day to this, the camel always wears a hump. We call it hump now not to hurt his feelings. But he has never yet caught up with the 3 days that he missed at the beginning of the world. And he has never yet learned how to behave. He is still very lazy, very slow in all his actions and his deeds. So students, now the explanation part of this story is over. I hope you have understood. Thank you.